Hello everyone, can you hear me in the back? Yeah, the microphone here is just fancy. Thank you all for being here today. So as you will see, you have packets in front of you. I promise I'll get to everything in there. And if we could just wait for questions, comments, I'll take anything that you may have on your mind at the end so we can make sure we get through all the material and I can address everything that you may have on your mind. So why don't we start by opening our packets and opening up the packet, taking out the packet itself. We're going to start on the green page here. We're going to go through page by page, starting with top scams targeting seniors. And all this material you can take home with you, of course. Feel free to put it on the fridge. You'll have my business card there on one of the sides of the folders. So you have my email, my number, to speak to me directly if you have any questions or concerns. And like I said, feel free to take this home with you, make copies. Word of mouth is very important, of course, along with our presentations, spreading the word in the community. So I'm going to start by just telling you a little bit more about the Better Business Bureau. Who hasn't heard of the Better Business Bureau to start? Yes, excellent. We'd love to see that. We're an unbiased nonprofit organization that sets and upholds fair and honest business behavior. We've been around for over 100 years, and there's over 100 Better Business Bureaus around the United States, including Canada and Mexico. Our Better Business Bureau, we're located in Oakland, downtown Oakland, and we serve 13 counties, from San Mateo County all the way up to Del Norte County near Oregon. So we consider ourselves in northern coastal California. As you can imagine, that's a lot of businesses to cover, a lot of consumers to cover. So we're often driving around different counties, different businesses, different libraries, and trying to spread the word of the Better Business Bureau to as many people as we can. So on that first page, we're going to go through the top scams targeting seniors. So we're going to start with the lottery and sweepstakes scams. Just a show of hands, who's encountered this scam before? A few of you, yes. Yeah, and it really doesn't matter the age demographic, income, it can affect anybody. What typically happens is you may get something in the mail claiming that you won a lottery or sweepstakes. Sometimes they'll claim to be from Publishing Clearinghouse to try to dupe you and pretend to be a reputable organization. And they will often ask you to send them money in return for claiming your prize. Now that's obviously a huge red flag in itself, right? I mean, if you win a prize, you shouldn't have to pay anything. So definitely look out for that. That's one of the main ones that you'll see. They'll often ask for wire transfers as a form of payment as well. Now this is also a huge red flag because wire transfers are nearly impossible to get back, especially overseas. So that's something to be very wary of. With credit cards, they're very aware of frauds and different scammers, so it's a lot easier to try to cancel the transaction, or at least that alerts you. So just as a safeguard, but if you see wire transfer, that's something to look out for. Next, we have the medical alert scam, which is obviously very prevalent in the senior community, and I know they're coming out with new Medicare ID cards as well, without the Social Security numbers, and that's important because your Social Security number is your livelihood basically. It can be a gateway for scammers and people that are up to no good to access your information and compromise you financially, certainly. So you don't want to be careful if anybody's calling you or if somebody's asking for your medical ID card or any information that they may not need, that may give up too much information on you. So we have, as you can see, a bullet point there with advice. So somebody may be calling you with some kind of ploy and it doesn't sound too believable. You can certainly hang up the phone and call the number that you know is the organization that you may have. Always call them directly. You can ask follow-up questions. There's many ways to make sure that you are speaking on the phone to who you should be speaking to. Next, we have the grandparent scam. Raise a hand, show of hands, who's heard of the grandparent scam? Yes, yeah, and this is one of the more devious scams. Really, these scam artists will find out information maybe about your grandson or granddaughter as far as their name, through social media, all sorts of methods. and they might call you claiming that little Timmy or Susie is in the hospital with a broken arm, and you need to wire money over immediately to help with the medical bills, and you know your family is on vacation, but so does the scammer, because they saw that on Facebook, whatever social media platform. They know you're out of town, they know where you are, and it makes that story that much more believable. They'll even sometimes try to change their voices to sound like a young boy, young daughter, even pretend to be the person's son or daughter, saying, your grandson needs you now. And that's one of the typical things we see from scam artists, is preying on people's emotions. So that's something else to look out for. That'll be a common theme throughout the presentation, throughout the other scams, is high pressure sales tactics. Preying on people's emotions, whether it be fear or generosity or vulnerable because a spouse just passed away, whatever it may be. It's very important to be wary of taking a second to really think about, am I rushing into this decision? Am I not thinking clearly? Am I not taking my time? So it's hard to do in the moment, but being aware of these red flags can help you do that. So we have a couple of new scams that aren't on here as well. Part of the Better Business Bureau's job, of course, is to inform the community of new and prevalent scams. So one that we've seen recently is a "Can you hear me now" scam. In this scam, you have somebody calling you, a scam artist, and they will, call you. You'll pick up the phone and say hello, and then they will start muffling with their headset. You may hear that, and you're waiting for them to get back, asking hello, hello, and then they will say, "Can you hear me now?" And as soon as you say yes, they can record that, and they can certainly try to use that against you. Yes, ma'am?
A voice print.
Yes, exactly. So recording your voice saying yes. Now, we haven't exactly seen the scam come to fruition, if you will, but it's certainly things that we've seen reported to us. So definitely be wary of that. One of our best pieces of advice is just not to pick up the phone, of course, if you don't recognize the number. If it's truly important, they'll leave a message, right? And of course, if it's a government agency, they're not going to call you, they're going to send you a letter. And that brings us to another scam that we've seen recently, the Social Security Administration scam. It's been happening a lot recently, unfortunately, yes. And, I've gotten the call, it doesn't matter, once again, whatever your age is, they will still try to dupe you into saying your Social Security number has been involved in a scam, often in Texas, we found, actually. And they'll, ask for the last 4 digits, or they'll ask for any piece of information that they can piece things together. So just remember that the SSA, the Social Security Administration, will never call you, they'll never solicit information, and that they may send you a letter, of course, but no matter what, you want to verify who you're speaking to. So we're going to move on to the second page, if you will, please. We have some do's and don'ts. Yes.
Similar to that grandparent scam, my mother-in-law got a call that said her daughter, my wife, was kidnapped. They kept her on the phone for 3 hours, trying to get her to wire in numerous locations. And then the Lucky Store wiring people saw something was wrong, called the cops, stopped the transaction. But I've heard about that one numerous times. That is, they've upped it to you're kidnapped.
Exactly, and that just shows. Thank you, sir, for sharing that. And I'm sure you guys have some other stories, and that's good that we'll get to later, because it's word of mouth, like I said, making people aware of things that can happen, because they obviously have no morals. They'll stop at nothing, and they're once again preying on emotions, the most important emotion, fear and love for your friends and family. So it's very understandable to get caught up in that emotion, but to look for these red flags can help a lot, definitely. So the do's and don'ts for seniors in the marketplace. So we're going to start with that first do. Now, one of the things that we often tell people, if you're getting a lot of robocalls constantly, is to register your phone with the do not call registry list, and the number's right there for you to keep. Recently, a study was done that found that seniors are twice as likely to buy things over the phone, and so because of that, you will often have scammers calling with specific senior products or what have you. So they may call you knowing that you are a senior, and that you may be prone to buying something over the phone without doing due diligence or what have you. So definitely look out for that. If you're getting a bunch of calls, to definitely register their number or report it to our BBB scam tracker, which I'll tell you later on how to do so, and we can look for patterns in phone numbers, although, as I'm sure you all have seen too, they're very adept at changing the numbers around and, you know, making it look like it's local. But as I said, if it's really important, they'll leave a message, right? If it's somebody who actually has something important, and sometimes they will leave you a message. It'll be in a different language, or it'll be nonsense, but at least you know that it's not, you know, relevant, it's not important to you. Number 2, keep careful records of all transactions and shred documents before throwing them away. We have 2 shred events every year that are completely free. We have about 2 or 3 shredding trucks from a data safe company or a privacy company that will come out to parking lot. You can bring any important documents you may want. You can come bring it out there and shred them absolutely free. You can watch them being shredded on a TV screen to be, to rest assured that it's actually being shredded properly and disposed of properly. So that's a great technique, but we know there's a lot of police stations, libraries that also do that as well. So definitely look into that. You don't want people digging through your trash, going through your records, piecing stuff together, obviously, so it's better to just be safe and make sure it's disposed of properly. Number 3, trust your instincts. This is kind of one of our mantras here at the Better Business Bureau. If it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. You really want to trust your gut instinct. That applies back to the sweepstakes, lottery prizes, or vacation or time rentals or whatever it may be as well. Just something like that where it's another technique of preying on emotions of excitement, and who wouldn't want to win a free trip to the Bahamas, of course. So you definitely just need to be wary of that. So trust your instincts. And then last but not least, of course, you can research the business at bbb.org. You can find out where they're located, complaint history, all sorts of really important information that can help you either verify your business or decide to go to a business, whatever it may be. Sometimes you may be getting a call, like I mentioned, from somebody claiming to be from a company, when in reality they're not. You could, while you're on the phone with them, go to bbb.org, look at their business profile, and ask them questions that only a real employee would know. Who's your supervisor? Where is your office located? How long have you been in business? Questions that they would only know if they work there, and if they start stumbling, that can be a red flag as well. So we're going to move on to the don'ts as well. So never do business with someone who shows up at your door before doing research. This specifically applies to home contractors. We see a lot of door-to-door imposters for home contractors that will go to people's homes, claim that they can fix it for an upfront fee, and they'll be back later with the materials or whatever kind of scam or lie that they have cooked up. So definitely you can look for certain things such as their van. Does their van have a accredited BBB insignia, or a diamond certified, or anything that would tell you that it's a real business vehicle, it's a real business. Their business card may even have the BBB logo, which is right on the front of your folder there, that the torch logo that I'm sure you've seen. And certainly you can, like I said, ask more questions. Say you're not going to pay up front, you want to do more research in your business. And it's especially important to report these people, because we see them even go to areas such as in Lake County, or areas that are found affected by the fires. We'll see door-to-door contractors go and try to scam people out of whatever money they have remaining, and it's just heart-wrenching, of course. And the sooner we can report these door-to-door contracting imposters, the better. So we can catch them. We can work with local law authorities, local media as well to help spread the word. Number 2, avoid giving out personal information. So that can be through an email or caller ID. Like I said, there's only certain places that would really need certain information. Of course, like the DMV would need your social, or certain entities, IRS, if you're actually speaking to them, of course. But you definitely want to be very careful with that information. Even your email, that can be sent out to many people as well. You just don't want to have a way to contact you to be that easily available. Number 3, don't wire money again. That's something that's going to come up as one of our most important pieces of advice, is to not wire money. We see that domestically, we see that internationally, and in both cases, it's nearly impossible to get your money back, and scammers know this. We're trying to work with local banks and national banks as well, just about making sure that they put measures in place banks such as Western Union that are typically used for these wire transfers, that they have protection in place to protect their consumers. And then number 4, resist high-pressure sales tactics. So take your time, ask questions like I mentioned, and be wary of pressure threats and repeated phone calls, limited time offers, anything of that nature where you need to act quickly or else the opportunity may run out. And that is a big red flag, of course. We're going to move on to top 10 red flags for seniors. So this is a great piece of paper, great sheet for you to look at if you are suspicious of somebody calling you, or if there's a business that you may be wary of. You can check out this checklist here and kind of go through different points. So you can read through this. Number 1, have you received a phone call asking for your personal information, bank accounts, or credit card numbers? So, that might be suspicious if you're on the phone, or maybe even you just hung up with somebody and you look through this list and you notice some of these that you did give information for. The important thing to do is immediately report it to BBB or immediately report it to local authorities, because of course, that initial emotion of fear or embarrassment, whatever it may be, from being scammed or maybe giving out more information than you should have, it pales in comparison to being able to report it and us knowing about it, local authorities knowing about it, and being able to connect different scammers and find, just these whole enterprises that they create. In fact, in Jamaica, we found that there was an entire, operation of telemarketers. Jamaica's English-speaking population. Is a fairly easy technique to teach, and before you know it, you're going to have a whole building full of people calling and trying to scam people as well. And it took a long time to track down those numbers and find this whole enterprise. And of course, they're not going to stop until they're caught as well. So that's very important to be mindful of. Number 2, did you receive a check in the mail? It's kind of what we mentioned about the sweepstakes and lottery prize. Has someone knocked on your door selling products or services? Now, we've even seen imposters pretend to be firefighters and policemen, pretend to raise money for bake sales or whatever it may be, and buying a fake outfit or whatever kind of technique they may use. For the most part, I think you're safe with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts to come to your house, of course, selling cookies, and it's good to support your local community, especially law enforcement and everything. But we've seen that before, where we've had imposters posing as firefighters and policemen, and that money could have gone towards the actual cause. So it's important to just make sure you do your research, or go to them directly, go to the fire station directly, or the police department directly. Number 4, does the offer sound too good to be true? That's, like I said, our mantra, along with an unbiased nonprofit upholding business behavior. Number 5, have you been asked to wire money or return overpayments? That's another technique of sending you more money than you should. You're sending money back, and by the time you realize that the check you cashed has bounced, they've already taken your money and run with it. It takes 2 weeks for a check to bounce, so it's especially people my age that are aren't very educated when it comes to writing checks, even handwriting letters, and they are often victims of this as well. Employment scams for people my age, where they will get a check for supplies, they'll cash the check, or deposit the check, and then go out to use the other check and it won't work, and their money's already gone. And these are students that may be using that money towards paying off debt, and it's very heart-wrenching as well. So definitely be careful of that. Number 6, have you found unexpected charges to your bank account or credit card? So that's kind of onus on ourselves, right, to make sure that we're keeping up with our big statements. We just did a presentation earlier this week, and a woman had noticed that every month a $30 charge had been taken out of her credit card until she finally checked her statements more thoroughly and found that immediately. Called her bank and let them know, but it had been going on for months, and just small enough of a charge for her not to notice, and just large enough for the scammer to make a profit, of course. So definitely, it's just being very meticulous with all your records. Number 7, did you receive an email claiming to be from your financial institution, asking you to update your account? And it may even it may have the insignia, it may have the seal of your institution, whatever, JP Morgan, whatever it may be. T. Rowe Price, and they may have the actual logo of the financial institution for the email. And they do this with government agencies as well, but this is a classic example of phishing, an email attempt to get you to open a suspicious website or have them be able to download information or all sorts of malicious things that could come from that as well. Number 8, did you receive high-pressure emotional call from a charity with a name that sounds similar to a recognized charity? We're going to get to that in a second, but we also accredit charities at the Better Business Bureau, and we're very proud of our over 11,000 accredited charities that you can look up their full profiles on as well. So, your hard-earned money, you want it to go towards what the organization's mission is, and you certainly don't want it to go to somebody with bad intentions. Number 9, were you invited to an estate planning seminar? Those are often high-pressure sales tactics as well. For instance, giving you something and expecting something in return. That salesmen will often do that. Remember, if somebody does their job for you, they're not entitled to anything. You don't owe them anything. So make sure you're cognizant of that. And number 10, did you get a call from someone in distress, claiming to be your grandchild, asking you to wire money? And that's, once again, the grandparent scam. And you may be on the phone, and you may get the call, and you may turn and look at your fridge, and you may have this top 10 red flag scam, staring right in the face, and maybe just what you need to ask the right questions. So now we're going to move on to the charities. So guidelines for giving wisely to charities. Every Wednesday we post an article on our social media feeds with tips on giving, on donations. Wise Giving Wednesdays, as we call it. This week is how you can help those affected by the government shutdown, for instance, or people that have gone through natural disasters, or of course the fires that happen in California. So it's a great article to look for weekly, but these tips will also help you a lot in finding the right charity to donate to. So first of all, there's some warning signs that you can look for to make sure you're not giving money to an imposter charity. Sound like names, so don't be fooled by names that sound impressive or closely resemble the name of an organization. I think it was last year we saw a bunch of reports of people getting emails from the Red Cross, REDCROSSS. One extra S, that's all it took. And people would click on the link, and of course their website would also look just like the Red Cross. They go to the donate button, they put in their information, they click donate, and of course you have a great feeling that you just helped somebody, but when in fact that money went into somebody else's pocket. So be careful with that. Number 2, high pressure tactics. Especially with natural disasters, somebody may call saying, we need this money now, this is going to our immediate relief fund, whatever tactic or whatever kind of believable backstory they may have. Once again, you want to just ask questions. On-spot donations, if they mention that, it's a red flag as well. And you can also ask them, well, tell me more about your CEO or your board size, things that you can look up about the charity, of course, things that you can verify yourself. There's also emotional appeals. So that kind of ties back into maybe natural disasters or homelessness, hunger. There's so many charities and so many people that need our help, which is unfortunate, of course, and that we want to help them, but that there's also people that know there's all these different organizations they can pose as. So you want to definitely look up the company, even if they say they have this great mission statement, to make sure that they are who they say they are. Cash payment requested. This is kind of along the lines of wire transfers, right? That's obviously very suspicious if they will only accept certain types of payment, because that way they know they will get the money without having to go through any loopholes. And if they're unable to provide information, this is one of the best ways to catch them, is just to keep them on the phone, ask questions. They'll keep getting more frustrated, I'm sure, as well, with more and more questions, and especially if they're not able to answer them, and that can be a big red flag. So we have some tips for giving wisely. So you can confirm that the charity is an IRS 501c3. You can contact the IRS by doing that directly. If you're contacted by phone, ask for the organization's address, phone number, and contact person. So you can, you can call them back if that makes it easier for you, if that will give you peace of mind. You can keep records of all your donations, so you can document that for for tax time as well. And then lastly, you can check out the organization with BBB's WISE Giving Alliance at bbb.org/charity. And that's what I was kind of mentioning earlier. We have our 11,000 charities listed on there, and you can look at their business profile, their charity profile, and you can see their CEO's salary, if they have at least 5 voting board members to make sure they're objective. And you can look at where exactly your money is going. A lot of times, of course, if you donate $1, how much of that dollar is actually going towards the organization and actually going towards that relief. So you can look at that information through this as well. And now lastly, if we would all please turn to important resources for seniors. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question on this page.
Yes.
You were discussing.
The charity, yes, ma'am.
The third from the end.
Mm-hmm.
Verify that the charity is registered with the MC Secretary of State?
Oh, yes. So
That's North Carolina?
that is North Carolina. So exactly.
What's special about that?
So that's not applicable to us.
Yeah.
So yes, so that one, yeah, you don't have to worry about that one. But yes, thank you for pointing that out exactly. But all the other ones, BBB.org/charity is nationwide, of course. It's not just charities in California. So that'll be very helpful. Now, last, we have our important resources for seniors. This is definitely one of the most important pieces of paper, one of the most important parts of our presentations that we give out to people. It's a great way to go through and make sure you have the proper entities and organizations in front of you if you may need them. So we have the BBB serving the SF Bay Area, where we just came from Oakland, and you have our phone number there and our website where you can go through and look for charities, businesses, use our spam tracker, which I'm going to get to at the very end. You can stop junk mail and telemarketing by calling these numbers listed below and go using that website as well. It remains in effect for 3 years. There's credit card offers, you can call to verify those. There's the Do Not Call registry, as I mentioned before. Especially with the Do Not Call registry, as landlines are starting to be phased out, it's very important that you get your cell phones on there as well, and with new technology coming for cell phones as far as being able to decipher if it's a spam call or a scam artist, and what calls are legitimate as well. There's FTC, so you have a couple different branches there too, the ID theft, debt collection, and their website at the bottom, ftc.gov. Social Security, so there's the number right there for fraud reporting that you can put, and especially, as I said, we've had a lot of reports recently, and we've had people receive calls from the Social Security Administration's phone number, the exact phone number. However, if you were to hang up the phone and call that number again, you would have a completely different person on the phone. They're just able to take that phone number, which adds to the believability of the scam. So definitely, even the phone number can deceive you. It can tend to be from Apple, Microsoft if you're having computer issues. So just because the caller ID may say a business organization, it's very important to hang up, call them directly, and make sure you know who you're dealing with. We have the California Attorney General as well, so consumer protection, and then the U.S. Senate Special Committee on Aging as well. They have a lot of great resources on that website. Of course, we all know about the credit scare with Equifax a few years ago, so we have some different credit reporting agencies on there, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and free annual credit report as well to make sure you're aware of that, because of course with identity theft sometimes people will go in for a loan and be denied immediately and not even know why, and it's because their finances and their identity has been compromised. So definitely make sure you're keeping up to date with that. And as you know, you can request a free credit report every 12 months too. So now we're going to move on to our scam tracker here. This pamphlet is just a tangible pamphlet. The actual scam tracker is on bbb.org. If you were to go to bbb.org and go to the upper right corner of the website, you'll see a BBB Scam Tracker button. After clicking on that button, you will then be taken to a new page with a live heat map of scams happening all over the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And you can, in the upper right corner again, report a scam. It's a big red button, can't miss it. And that is how you would report a scam. If from a robocall, from a business, whatever it may be, you can put in all the information, what type of scam it is, whether it's identity theft, what have you, And then you can put in all the information for the number who called you, who was claiming to call you, how much money you lost if you did lose money. And we've had this since 2015, and we have over 118,000 scams reported. And that tells you two things. That tells you it's a lot of scams in 3 years, but also that we never delete any of our scams as well. Because as I mentioned, you never know when scams may come.